Hey guys, you're welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to make a cargo pant, which is also called a combat trouser. So with that, I'm going to be using this very thick material. It is just like a gym material. I'm going to be using it to make this trouser. So here is a picture that shows just what we are going to be making. Alright, so now let's go right into the cutting. So here is me showing you the right side of the fabric and the wrong side. Now go ahead and fold this into two using your tie measurement with 1.5 inch allowance. So here is what I have already folded here. Now this trouser is going to have a band of 2 inches, so this actually depends on you. You can decide to make yours 1.5, but I think 2 inches is actually perfect for what I'm working with. Now I'll just place my tape rule on the fabric like this. Remember my fabric is on a fold. Then I'll mark my hip line, which is on 9. So the other part will serve as my waistline. So there is my hip line on 9. Then the crotch of this is on 13 inches. Then 4 inches below your crotch will serve as the tie line. So I'll take that again. 4 inches below the crotch will serve as the tie line. Now having done this, I'll go ahead also to mark the length of this trouser. So here I'm not going to be measuring the tie because I want this to be as free as possible. Alright, so go ahead and measure the length of your trouser, and then I'll be adding 2 inches allowance to the hem of this. So having done this now, we're going to go ahead to connect these lines together. So guys, keep in mind that there is a 2 inches above, so my tape rule is reading from 2. Now I'm going to be using my ruler to connect this in order to have a straight line. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. Now the last part I'll be connecting will be the length. Right, so this is what we have now. I'll just label these lines so that it's easier for us to follow. So the waistline, the hip line, now this will be my crotch line. This line will serve as the tie, so I'll just use the first letter of this, then that is the length. Right, having done this now, let's get right into dividing our measurement. So the hip measurement is the first measurement we are going to be placing into this. Now I'll just go ahead and divide the circumference of my hip by 4. Then I'll mark it on the material. Again, the circumference of the hip divided by 4. So there I'm working with a hip of 40 inches. Now I'll divide it by 4, which will give me 10. Then I'll mark that, and then I'll be adding 1.5 inch allowance to this. So go ahead and mark the same thing for yours. So this actually depends on how free you want the trouser to be, but I think this is actually okay. So you can go ahead and add 1.5 inch allowance to yours. Now the same measurement I took there, I'll go ahead and take it on the crotch line. Now for my crotch extension, I'm going to be using 3 inches. This is because the person is on a larger size, and then the crotch really needs to be free, so I'm going to be using 3 inches for my crotch extension. But before I do that, I'll just connect what I have as my hip line and allowance. I'll connect it straight up like this. So again, this is just my hip measurement plus the 1.5 inch allowance that I connected to the crotch. Now I'll be adding the crotch extension, which is going to be 3 inches. So there are different formulas to get your crotch extension. I'll be leaving some of the measurements in the description box, so please go ahead and check them out. So now just go ahead and blend this and give this a curve. So this will serve as my crotch. So lovelies, having done this now, we're going to be working on the waist. Now from that line, I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4 as well. So the waist measurement divided by 4 is going to give me 7.5. So now I'll be taking my waist measurement divided by 4. I'll mark it there. Now after I'm done with this, I'll be adding 1 inch allowance to this. So while sewing as well, I'll be taking note of this. So the only allowance I added on the waist is just 1 inch, while I added 1.5 on the hip. So there is my allowance. Now I'll go ahead and take my thigh measurement divided by 2. So the thigh measurement is 24 divided by 2, which gave me 12 inches. Then I added 1.5 inch allowance to that. Now I'll replace the same measurement I have right there on the length of this. Then I'll connect it like this. So I did not reduce this because I wanted the trouser to be really big on the down part. I didn't want it to be too tight. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out as you can see me doing. Now after you are done with that, on the front part, go ahead and fold your measurements like this. Then on the top, leave about 4 inches on the top for you to be able to work with. Right, so as you can see, I folded my fabric into 2. Then I'll be adding 2 inches to the measurement I have at the back for the front measurement I've already drafted. So just go ahead and take 2 inches on the crotch, on the hip, on the waist, as you can see me doing. Just take 2 inches randomly, then extend the waist as well by 2 inches, then connect this out. So for the crotch as well, just curve this as well. So keep in mind that the only thing I added to differentiate the back from the front is just the extra 2 inches you can see me adding. Also on the thigh and the other measurement, I'll just take that 2 inches randomly downwards. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. So the essence of the 4 inches I have upward is for me to be able to extend the back. Normally, you know, the butt is actually going to lift the length of the trouser. So in order for this to cover the butt, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to the top of this. So we'll still get to that. So now on the waistline, the new line we have, which is for the back, I'm going to be extending it by 2 inches like I said earlier. So on that part, just go ahead and add 2 inches. So you can as well add 1.5 inch, but because the person I'm working with actually has a wide butt, so I'm just going to go ahead and use 2 inches for this. Now having done this, you're going to take note of the measurements you have on your front pattern. So on the one you've drafted for the front, so I have exactly 10.5 right there. Now I'm just going to place it on my new line, which is for the back, slanted like this. So wherever I have that 10.5, I'm going to go ahead to mark it. So that was where my 10.5 stopped. I hope this is actually clear, guys. So that was where my 10.5 stopped. So I want to make both the front and the back waistline equal, taking note of the 2 inches I already added. I hope this is clear enough. So I'll just slant my rule like this and then connect it to where I have exactly that 10.5, so that I have both the front and the back waistline equal. So that point I marked will serve as my new waistline for the back. So as you can see, I have exactly 10.5 there. Now just go ahead and rule this again, rather, to make this visible. Sorry, I nearly backed myself right there. So then I'll mark the hip line so that I can go ahead and blend this part now to the other part like this. So if you have actually done this to this stage, I think you really deserve an award. Alright, so now this is what the back piece will look like. So this is just the difference between the back and the front piece. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this out. Right, so this is going to be for the fly zipper. Now the length of this should be around 8 inches and then the wideness of this should be around 2. So here you can just see me giving this a nice curve for me to be able to work with. Now for the pocket, I'm going to be folding this like this. So the length of this is about 12 inches and then the wideness of this is about 8 inches. So there you can see me just making a curve. Right, so there I have exactly 3 inches. Then I'll be adding 1 inch because I'm going to be folding that part. So let's just say I have about 4 inches on that part. Then on this part, I'll just be leaving it. I have exactly 8 inches there. So from that part, I will be going up by 5 inches. Remember, I'm drafting the front pocket. So I'll just make a curve for this part. So I'll not be using this to make a curve. I'll just use my free hand to sketch this out. So this is what I want my front pocket to look like. So just give this a nice curve. Now this is on fold, so I'll be using this for the boot pocket. So I'll just cut this out and split it into two. So I have 2 pockets for the front piece. So guys, after you are done cutting this out, we're going to go right into sewing. Then I'll be showing you other pockets I'm going to be attaching to this. So just take your time to cut this out. Also go ahead and mark the wrong side of it so that you don't get confused while sewing. So I'm going to be hemming this part as you can see me doing right there. Now we set this aside and work on other pockets. So the length of this is 12 inches and then the wideness of this is about 10 inches. So I'll be cutting 2 as you can see me doing. So just go ahead and cut yours. So this will be for the other pocket that's going to have a fold. So mark the wrong side as well. Now for that, this is what it's going to look like. So here I have the measurements displayed. So I'm going to be marking 2 inches in between. That 2 inches will serve as the plate I'm going to make in between. So here are other pockets. So I actually did not want to make this video too lengthy. That is why you did not see me showing other ways I cut this out. But I'll be leaving a link to another tutorial on how I drafted out this pocket. So also I have the covers to this pocket here. So I think I'll leave a link for you to get how to cut it because I think it will be too lengthy if I cut and show you how it was made from this video. Right, so that is my band. Now we'll go right into sewing. So this is going to be the first pocket for the front piece. Now I'm just going to go ahead now and sew and fold this to the wrong side like this. So this is what I'm going to be doing. Just go ahead and fold twice, then give this a stitching. So guys, this is what I had. Now go ahead and top stitch again. So I already did that for the 2 piece and that was what I had. Now I'll be placing the pocket on the front piece. So go ahead and use a pin to hold this down so that you don't work twice, because having this shift can actually be really annoying. So go ahead and fold this down. Now I'm going to be folding these edges now as you can see me doing. So just fold ½ inch in to close this part up. So I'll keep folding till I get to the end of this. So there, make sure you put in your pin before you make a turn there to make it really neat. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and continue this. So for this part, I'll just stitch it down so that it doesn't move. then for the other part above to stitch it down. So this is what the pocket looks like. As you can see, it looks really neat. So you can actually give this a double fold as well. So I'll repeat that for the other side right now. So this is the flap. I'm going to be placing the flap like this, or the cross like this, right side facing the right side, and I will run a stitch just with half an inch. Now after you are done with this, you go ahead and give this a good press, and this was what I had. So now we'll be attaching the zipper to this. So you can get a jean zipper, but I actually prefer to use this. So now turn the zipper to the other side, to the wrong side, and place it on the front part of this. Then go ahead and hold this down and stitch this. So as you can see, the zipper is actually on the line I used to join my crotch together. I hope this is actually clear. So just go ahead and pin this down so that you don't have it moving. Now I'm going to be running a stitch on this part you can see me pointing to. So just run a stitch on it and make sure it is very neat. So now I'll be running a stitch on that part. Now this was what I had after I was done with that. As you can see, it came out nice. So now I'll be covering the other part of the zipper. Now the other side of the trouser is going to be placed on it like this. Now while doing this, go ahead and push off all other parts to the other side so that you don't sew on it. Then this is going to be under like this. So you have the zipper in between, followed by the two crotch you cut on the two sides. So just go ahead and stitch down like this. And this was what I had after I was done with that. So now this allowance I have there is going to be covering this my fly zipper, and I'm going to be running a stitch on that part to hold this down. Again, go ahead and open this up so that you don't sew on it, because sewing on it means you are not going to be able to put on this trouser. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to close my crotch. So from where my zipper stopped, exactly at that point, I'm going to go ahead and close up my zipper. Again, I'll open this up as you can see me doing. Then I'll close up my zipper. So go ahead and fold on this like this as you can see me doing. Then just give this a curve. So you can make this any design you want. So this is what I wanted for mine, and this is what it looks like. Now these are the pockets I went ahead to cut. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be turning this. So I have them right side facing the right side. So I'll just go ahead and turn this where you can see me pointing to. So I'll be leaving the other parts for me to turn this from. So again, that is how I'll be turning all of it. So the curvy part is where I'll be turning, and then the straight part I'll be leaving them out. Now I'll be sewing this now and be back to show you what it looks like. So guys, this was what I had after I was done. I'm just giving this a notch. So now go ahead and turn this and then iron it out. So you want to take your time to turn this out and then give it a good press so that you have it coming out neat. So guys, now I'm going to top stitch on this as well after I'm done ironing. So this is what I had after I was done. So I gave it double stitches and I think it really looked nice. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. Now as for the pocket, this is why I left 2 inches. So the 2 inches I had, I just went ahead to fold it flat like this. Then I gave it a stitching on both sides. So this is the back piece. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'll be joining the crotch for the back piece together. So I'm going to be using 1/2 inch to actually join this together. and then this is for the back, this is for the pocket. So I'm going to be using this for my cargo pocket. So it is about 2 inches. I just went ahead to iron half inches on both sides. So what I'm doing is I'll just be sewing on that half-inch round, then I'll give it a notch, turn again, and then sew randomly like this, as you can see me doing. So this is what I did for the pocket, and this is what I had after I was done with that. So now I'll be folding the top of this. Now having done this, now I'm going to be stitching this down on the pocket. Remember to fold the top of this as well. Then I'll repeat the same process for this as well. So this was what I had after I was done folding the top of it. So the other half-inch I ironed in, as you can see, will be used to attach this to the pocket, to the trouser itself rather. So this is the back piece. Now I'll be joining the front piece and the back piece together from the sides. Now I'll be leaving the center of this. So also I went ahead to hem the down of this. So I've already went ahead to join this together. So I'm just going to be taking the measurement of where I want my pocket to start from. That is 6 inches away from the first pocket I already had. So I'll open this up now. So as you can see, I have this line for the side will serve as the midpoint of this. I will mark the midpoint of the pocket as well, as you can see me doing. Then I will use a pin to hold this down so it doesn't move around while I'm trying to sew. Now after I've placed this together, I'll just go ahead and sew it with the half-inch already folded, as you can see me doing. So you want to make sure you're running a very clean stitch on this as well, because it's going to be showing on the outer part. So just go ahead and arrange it randomly and then sew on it. So this was what I had after I was done. I also went ahead to just fix the pocket directly above it and then give it a top stitch as well. So this is what I had. Then for the back pocket as well, that was what I had. So for the front, for the other side, now I'm going to be closing this with 1 inch. So just close this randomly, and then this was what I had after I was done closing. Now I'll be working on the band of this. So also I went ahead to cut a fabric of about 1 inch. So I just folded it in and then stitch on both sides in order for me to use this as my belt rope. So I'm just going to be marking 5 inches away from the fly zipper, and then I'll place this like this. Now I'll just repeat the same process for the other part till it ends on the other side of the trouser. So just go ahead and hold this down. Now again, turn this over and then measure another 5 inches. So this actually depends on what you want. For mine, I wanted the intervals to just be 5 inches. Now I'll keep taking this measurement randomly and keep fixing that. So I'll be using this for my band. So remember, the length of my band was, the wideness of my band was 2 inches. So I cut a band of about 3 inches here, and I'll be folding half inch on both sides. So the length of this is actually about 35 inches, considering that I'm working with a waist of 30 inches. So I actually prefer to have excesses than for me to have shortage. So what I did was I went ahead to top stitch on that top. Now I'll be placing the band like this from the excess I have from the fly zipper. So just go ahead and watch what I'm doing so that you will get it. So I'll just keep folding this like this, and then I'll run a stitch on it. So I'm sewing on exactly that half inch I folded earlier. So now for the other one I'm going to be using as my belt, is going to be laying flat, while I'm going to sew half inch of it into this band. Just keep watching what I'm doing and you'll get what I'm saying. So this part was the part where the belt rope was. So you see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and arrange this, remove the pin, arrange this down, and then cover it up with the band. So I'm going to be stitching it as well with the half and hinge. So just go ahead and work it round this. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. I already went ahead to sew the first one. Now just go ahead and top stitch this. So it is easier this way, then you don't have it moving here and there. So guys, this is what I had after I was done top stitching. So now I'll just use my machine to stitch down the other edge of my belt so that it's staying flat, like as you can see. So guys, this was what I had after I was done stitching it down. I hope this tutorial was helpful. So I'll just go ahead and put in my buttons to hold this part down. So if this tutorial was helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.